To get a better idea of how an open-end question works, let's compare them to closed-end questions, which is the opposite. For example, we have what would happen if you try this solution? Can you see the suggestion here? Instead, we can use what could you try with this problem? Can you see the space we are creating here for them to do their own thinking? I repeat, what could you try with this problem instead of have you tried this? It's a clear distinction between a suggestion and a thinking provoking question. Another example to make it more clear, we have you done this? Have you tried this? Instead of with how are you going to do this? Do you notice how the word how changes the whole scope and the space that we are creating with this question? How are you going to do this? We challenge the coach's own thinking to find the solution or find the next experiment. So just keep in mind some key characteristics of powerful questions. We use direct, short, and clear wording. As a rule of thumb, 3 to 7 words, it's okay. You don't have to, to word count. Just keep that at the back of your head, because you see, too many words decreases the scope of the question and introduces waste into the question and into the discussion we have with the coachee. We want to be direct, expressing genuine interest that serves their learning. There is a challenge when being direct. The challenge is to avoid even the slightest bit of criticism. And another very handy tip is to use their language. Use their language, their words, their references, building intimacy and trust. Use language that they can understand, making a connection with you and their background. But remember, the greatest, most powerful question is why? Single word, no criticism, and powerful. So ask the question to provoke their thinking and then just step back. Allow them to think, allow them to grow. Sometimes they just need the space to realize and process what they already know. So let's go to the main course, some more examples and some tips. You can write down whatever fits more appropriate and more handy for you. So in case we want to guide our teams or our coaches as individuals to discover impediments, we could ask, what do you need to solve this problem? What is standing in your way? So when we need to dive into the root cause of a situation and create awareness for them, we can ask, why is this a good or a bad thing? Why is this important? Do you notice how the word why provokes awareness? But what can we do to focus on learning and discovery? Well, in that case, we can simply ask, what do you learn from this? What are you discovering? What's new here? What new information is here for you? How does it feel to say that out loud? What is specifically you want to do more or less of? So I bet you want some more examples, right? Okay, let's see a few more. Well, actually, this part of the examples is my favorite one. I admit, sometimes I have a cheat sheet with my best questions. So I advise you to take some notes if you like, or just reach out later for more examples. So a great coaching tactic is to focus on the future. Just help your teams broaden their thinking and not just limit on that very specific thing that is happening at the moment. Because you see, we tend to stack on a particular detail and go over and over the same loop. We need to break this loop and see the bigger picture. So here's how powerful questions can be of aim to that cause. So we can ask, what would you prefer happen? How would you prefer acting instead? What outcome would you like? How success would look like? Have you noticed here that we invoke their imagination? That is exactly the point. To think out of the box, to invoke their imagination. So we had some awesome examples of great questions for thinking and awareness. However, we need at some point to help the coaches and the teams to take responsibility and actions, not just stay at wishful thinking. So to focus on actions, we can ask, what are you going to do next? How can you use this information? What are you willing to do about this? What could go wrong? What might get in your way? I think I had enough of questions so far. Just changing the scope a bit and getting in a more philosophical mood. You know, philosophy is a significant part of Greek culture. Being Greek myself, we are very familiar with an iconic figure of Greek philosophy, Socrates, and his notorious method. The Socratic method is named after the Greek philosopher Socrates, who taught students by asking question after question. Sounds a bit annoying, right? Well, he was famous for that, particularly for that, for being annoying. So he drew out answers from his pupils to challenge their thinking. And here are 6 types of questions Socrates posed. For clarifying questions, what exactly does this mean? For probing assumptions, what else could we assume? For probing rationale, reasons and evidence, why is that happening? For questioning viewpoints and perspectives, who benefits from this? For probing implications and consequences, what are the consequences of that assumption? But Socrates went even further by questioning the question. Why do you think I asked this question? And that's the annoying part, I think. So I suggest you to do your own investigation on the Socratic method and how this could be of use in coaching and, of course, in life. After exploring this questions part, it comes naturally at this point to come to a deeper understanding of why we are paying so much attention to this particular practice. Because we aim to liberate our coaches by transforming limiting assumptions into liberating questions. For example, what are you assuming here that is making you feel that way? What can you assume instead? You see the liberating transformation?